play regular. Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana. Right. एक और था, कहाँ गया? यशोदानंदना Rajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Jai Radha Madhava Kuja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajacharya Ashtotera Shata Shri Srimad Abhay Charan Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Iskcon Sanstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada ki Niti Leela Pravishta Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Sachit Ananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya Baladevidya Bhushan Prabhu ki Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki Shri Narottam Das Thakur ki Aaj Narottam Das Thakur Avirbhav Mahotsav ki Shri Rup Sanatan Bhattar Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki Shri Vrinda Devi Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Mathura Dham ki Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki Shri Dwarka Puri Dham ki Shri Ayodhya Puri Dham ki Shri Avantipur Dham ki Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Mandir ki Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Lalita Vishaka Devi ki Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Sandipani Muni ki Shri 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 Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Sudarshan Chakra ki Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Prahlad Narasimha ki Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Samaveta Bhaktavrinda ki Samaveta Bhaktavrinda ki Samaveta Bhaktavrinda ki Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna Namaham Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Hare Krishna. आज भी विदेशी भक्त लोग हैं तो अंग्रेजी में बोलो कि हिंदी? कितने लोग अंग्रेजी बिल्कुल नहीं समझते हैं? हाथ दिखाइए सब. You all know English. Everyone knows English. आज नरोत्तम दास you don't know. आप नहीं जानते हैं. जानते हैं? अंग्रेजी समझते हैं. ओके. सो पहले नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर मैंने ढूंढ के निकाला. Oh, I did a little research and I found a little longer biography of Narottam Das online, not the whole book. There's a book available written by a god sister who lives in Mayapur, American woman. about Narottam Das Thakur, but I have that book, but I don't have it with me. I don't even know where it is, but anyway. I will read from my iPad. I brought the iPad, the trusty iPad. Computer glasses. We should sing a song from, well, we already did Jai Radha Madhava, right? So it's okay. We had a kirtan. Oh. Okay. There are two biographies here. There's a long one and a short one. So I'll read the long one. That'll take a lot of time. It's okay? Okay. Narottam Das Thakur was a lifelong brahmachari. He visited all the holy places and was the best of pure devotees. This is from Sri Nandanandan Prabhu, God brother. I don't know how many of you heard his name. Sri Nandanandan Prabhu, he's living in Detroit in the USA, and he's feeling the pinch of old age. He's 73 now. He'll be 74 this year. So he's not traveling so much because of, age-related frailties. On the banks of the Padmavati River in the town of Gopalpura lived King Krishna Datta. It should be Krishnananda Datta. His older brother was Purushottama Datta. The wealth and fame of these two brothers was beyond compare. King Krishnananda's son was Sri Santosh Datta. In the month of Magh, on the day of Shukla Panchami, Sri Narottam Das Thakur took his birth. But today is Purnima, right? Isn't it? So how is this Shukla Panchami of Magh, and this is Magh Purnima? Oops. There must be two different stories. Seeing many auspicious omens surrounding the birth of his son, Raja Krishnananda was very pleased and gave lavishly in charity to the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas, seeing all the auspicious signs surrounding the child's birth, prophesied that the boy was a highly perfected soul and great personality by whose influence many people would be delivered. Just as a crescent moon gradually becomes the full just as the crescent moon gradually becomes full, the king's son grew more effulgent and beautiful with each passing day. His bodily luster was just like molten gold. His eyes were large and shaped like lotus petals. His arms extended to his knees, and he had a deep navel. All these are the bodily symptoms of a Mahapurusha, a great personality. All the local townspeople used to gather to take darshan of the beautiful and saintly child. Soon the boy's Annaprashana Sanskara, the grain-eating ceremony, was held. At that time, in order to ensure auspiciousness and a bright future for his son, King Krishnananda gave much charity. The king's wife's name was Sri Narayani Devi. Having given birth to such a wonderful son, she was floating in the ocean of ecstasy. She always kept the boy close to her and was always concerned for his well-being, caring for him constantly. The boy was extremely peaceful. Wherever his mother put him, he would quietly stay put. Within the ladies' quarters, the ladies used to nurture and care for the child with great ecstasy. Gradually, the day of his entrance into school, Hate Kari approached. Hate Kari is Bengali. Who knows what that means? Vidyaramba, Hate Kari. As his schooling went on, everyone was astonished at his amazing intelligence. Simply by hearing a subject once from his gurus, he would commit it to memory. Sounds like Krishna and Balaram with Sandipani. In only a short time, he mastered the study of Sanskrit grammar, poetry, rhetoric, and became expert in many different scriptures. But gradually he saw as useless any knowledge which did not promote Hari Bhajan, and soon lost interest in everything but Krishna consciousness. He found that in previous times the learned who understood what real knowledge is left everything, renouncing the world of birth and death, and went off into the forest in order to worship the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord Hari. Day after day, Narottam began to think of how he could become free from family life and constantly engage himself in the Lord's service. He was indifferent to all material enjoyment. Where most children usually like to play, he was uninterested in playing games. At this time, hearing the glories of Sri Nityananda and Sri Gauranga from the lotus lips of the devotees of the Lord, his heart was filled with spiritual joy. As if he had been given new life, he felt great ecstasy. Within a few days of hearing the wonderful pastimes of Gaura and Nityananda, he began to chant their holy names in japa, day and night. One night, the merciful Sri Gaura Sundar, surrounded by his eternal associates, appeared to Narottam in a dream and gave him darshan. After this, in order to understand how to become free from family life, Narottam Das Thakur began to think day and night of how he could go to Vrindavan. Narottam has prayed, Hari Hari Kabe Haba Vrindavan Vasi. Oh Hari, when will I become a resident of Vrindavan? When will I serve the beautiful divine couple in Vrindavan with tears in my eyes? In this way, Narottam would constantly sing. Seeing Narottam's indifference to all sense pleasure and his sense renunciation, and his intense renunciation, King Krishnananda and Narayani Devi began to think about what to do with him. Seeing that he was not inclined towards family life, and then he might soon leave home unexpectedly to go to Vrindavan, they became very worried. They employed a guard to watch over him so that he couldn't leave. Excuse me. Narottam Das saw that the difficulties involved in escaping were becoming more impassable than the Himalayas, and he thought that he might never be able to go to Vrindavan and absorb himself in the worship of the holy feet of Sri Gauranga. Thinking only of how to get the mercy of Sri Gaur Nityananda, he began to pray very earnestly for guidance from them. And so it came to pass that some messengers came from the ruler of Bengal, informing King Krishnananda that the ruler of Bengal wanted to meet with him. In order to meet the ruler of Bengal, Raja Krishnananda and his brother Purushottam Datta set out on a long journey to the court of the ruler of Bengal. Narottam took advantage of the moment, thinking it to be a good opportunity to leave home. At that time, he secretly left his mother and his protectors, turned towards Vrindavan, and began his journey to that holy land. There were no flights and there were no trains, no highways, no cars, right? No Uber, no Ola. In India, there's Ola. No, in America, there's Ola. You have Ola here, you have Uber here, what else do you have? Rapido. Wow. That time, these things didn't exist. There were horses, there were bullock carts, and there was walking. I think he walked, right? Passing through, it was on the full moon day in the month of Kartik that Narottam Das Thakur left his family behind. Passing through Bengal in a short time, he soon found himself on the road to Mathura. All the other pilgrims he would meet were very affectionate toward Narottam, as they could recognize him as the son of a king, as the son of the king. He would sometimes live by drinking milk, and sometimes he would eat roots and fruits as he went along. You mean no pizza and pasta? No mojitos, chili paneer, fruits and roots. His constant hankering to see Vrindavan made his hunger and thirst go away. As he moved from place to place, he would hear the glories of Gaur and Nityananda from the mouths of many devotees. In this way, he was always thinking about their lotus feet, constantly absorbed in meditation. As he walked and walked, he prayed to the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, as he has written, Ar Kabe Nitai Chand. When will Nityananda show his mercy to me and free me from the world of birth and death? By his mercy, one may give up material enjoyment and purify his mind. In this way, by the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, one can attain Vrindavan. Boy, reading this makes me feel hopeless. It reminds me of Prabhupada's prayer, right? Markine Bhagavat Dharma. When Prabhupada was on the boat to America, right, he wrote the poem, and he said, after crores of births, I might someday, see Krishna. I have a hope. Then there was in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, right? You won't see Krishna, you won't see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Mukunda Datta, right? You won't see Krishna for crores of janmas. And he said, he became ecstatic. Wow, I'll actually see Krishna someday. I'll actually see Krishna. It's not so easy, right? It's not so easy to see Krishna. In this way, walking and walking, Narottam Das arrived in Mathura, and seeing the Yamuna, he offered many prayers. Remembering the names of the 6 Goswamis headed by Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatan, he began to weep in ecstasy. Gradually, he came to Vrindavan itself and entered into that holy land. It's so easy now, huh? It was so difficult in those days. He was sent He was sent by Sri Jiva Goswami to serve the lotus feet of Lokanath Goswami. So he actually had darshan of Jiva Goswami, Narottam. Lokanath Maharaj was very ancient and was so deeply agonized by the pain of separation from Sri Gauranga that it was if his very life had been taken away. Very ancient, I guess, means very elderly, right? I don't know how they use the word ancient, Very old, very elderly. Narottam Das offered his obeisances to the lotus feet of Sri Lokanath, and Lokanath asked him, "Who are you?" Narottam said, "I am your fallen servant. I wish to serve your lotus feet." Lokanath replied, "How can I, who am unable to serve Gaur Nityananda, accept any service?" I wish I was that humble. After this, Narottam would secretly go in the middle of the night to the place where Lokanath Maharaj would pass stool and urine and cleanse the area, maintaining everything very nicely. After a year of serving in this way, his service was recognized by Lokanath Goswami and he bestowed his mercy upon Narottam Thakur. In the full moon day of the month of Shravan, is that correct pronunciation? Shravan? He initiated Lokanath Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, as his disciple. He used to eat by practicing Madhukari. Who knows what is Madhukari? Who knows? Wow, some people don't know. Madhukari is the bee flying from flower to flower and taking a little honey from each flower. So if a human being can't go to a flower and take honey, but he goes door to door and takes a little, so the people they don't feel the burden, right? Now who does that? Practically no one. There are people. Particularly in Braj, but other places also. There are some renunciates they'll cook only for themselves. They won't eat food cooked by anyone else. That's, what is that called? Swayam Paki, someone who cooks for himself. And someone who won't cook at all, so he can do bhajan. We'll go, there's another word for that, uncha vritti, someone who begs alms. So brahmanas, real brahmanas, they used to do that, or sannyasis particularly, they had to do that. Tridandi bhikshu, Tridandi, 3 rods, and bhikshu is a beggar. Get me my business class ticket, I'm a beggar. Well, that's a modern preacher. In old age, he needs a little, extra comfort. But yeah, sannyasi used to beg. Bhiksham bhavati dehi. You heard that? You never heard that? Bhiksham means alms. Bhavati, you. Dehi, give. Please give alms. Bhavati is Strilinga. The housewife was approached by this mendicants because the men were out working. And a Brahmin should say Bhiksham Bhavati Dehi, a Kshatriya, because the boys would go. The Gurukul students, right? Brahmachari, Gurukule Vasandanto Gurorhitam, they would serve the Guru. And the Guru was busy teaching them Vedas and perform Sandipani, who we're about to see in a moment. So the boys would go from house to house and would say Bhiksham Bhavati Dehi if they were Brahmanas. But if they were Kshatriyas, they changed the word order. Bhiksham Dehi Bhavati. And Vaishyas, Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimha ki, Gaur Nitai ki, Radha Madan Mohan Lalita Vishakha Devi ki, Krishna Balaram Sandipani Muni ki, Shri 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 Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Sudarshan Chakra ki. Or we could have just said Sarvadevebhyo Namaha. I offer my obeisances to all the gods. So Bhiksham Bhavati Dehi Dehi Bhiksham and Dehi Bhiksham Bhavati. The word order changes, the meaning is the same anyway, small thing. So those who practice Madhukari, they go to a house. I knew Gaudiya Math sannyasi, Prabhupada's godbrother disciple. I think he's no more now. He must have left this world. And he lived in Vrindavan and Radha Kund, Govardhan, mostly in Vrindavan. He was from Odisha. How do you pronounce it now? Odisha, right? They changed the spelling, English spelling. And he would go to fixed houses, and they would give him little sabji and couple chapatis, and he would bring it back to the mutt, and he would quietly eat in a corner. He was a Western engineer, trained, but became a sadhu. He took sannyas. So there were people like that. And cleaning the stool and urine, that's adbhutam. That's wonderful. Who can do that? Extreme humility. Extreme humility. That kind of extreme humility, it's very easy to be arrogant. Hey, don't you know who I am? Or as the saying goes in English, even a pauper is proud of his penny. Right? We English speakers, we heard this. गरीब आदमी एक पैसे के लिए गर्व रखते हैं, ये मेरा है. Ahankar. Ahankar, it may be a rich person, it may be a poor person. Anybody can be arrogant. It's not restricted only to the rich, but generally the rich are proud, isn't it? So this Narottam and Raghunath Das Goswami were from the same community, and their father had vast wealth, but they didn't care for that wealth from the childhood. Raghunath was married but didn't care. So these are amazing, very rare example of, it's difficult. It's difficult to be a brahmachari. Tough. You know the word Bhishma. We usually think of Bhishma Pitamaha. Pitamaha means grandfather. In North India and West India, the Bhishma from the Mahabharata is called Bhishma Pitamaha. And in Bengal, they say Bhishma Dev. Dev means God. Devata, demigod. So that name came, if you know the story in Mahabharata when he said, I won't marry, I'll remain a brahmachari for the rest of my life. So the devatas were watching him, and they let out a cry, Bhishma, because to be a brahmachari is almost impossible. To control the senses. Actually, we were discussing something that you shouldn't discuss, which is child abuse. That's the gentlemanly way, child abuse. And it's become a major issue, and it's something that's quite common. And the reason for child abuse is there is no control over the senses. People are not taught sense control. In fact, the opposite is being taught, which in Hindi is called Khao Pio Moj. Eat, drink, and be merry in English. That's what is being taught all over the world. Modern education, what do they teach? Go to the university and it's just boys and girls mixing. Well, my granddaughter, shockingly, maybe I shouldn't say this here, but she came and told me recently they migrated to the USA, and she said, I'm the only virgin in my class. And that's the 12th standard, 12th grade. That's why in India there was child marriage in Hindu culture, so that this vyabhichar, illicit sex connection wouldn't be there. You had a husband, you had a wife, and that was fixed. Whether they were, everybody now thinks that the wife should be a combination of Miss India and the most beautiful actress and Urvashi, from the heavenly planets. But it doesn't happen like that. And for a woman, the man should be rich, that's all. Doesn't matter what he looks like. He should have money. That also doesn't happen. In fact, most of the people, they're, hand to mouth, hat se muh. Learn a little Hindi today. Hat se from hand to mouth. Hat se muh. Who is a Kubera? Kubera, the treasurer of the demigods, right? Dhanadevata, he's the demigod of wealth. Hey, who is a Kubera in society? Yeah, they're there. They're a small percentage of the population, isn't it? So Narottam Das was from that, very wealthy, but instead of generally kings indulge in sense pleasures, right? Kings had many wives, like Dasharath, Ramayana. How many wives did Dasharath have? Do you know? 3. Sumitra, Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, Kaushalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi. No. Anybody know? Pardon? 350. In Valmiki Ramayana, 350. Rama, 1. His father, 350. When Ravana was killed in Valmiki Ramayana, we're reading every day 10 shlokas with Hindi translation. Only in my temple. Nobody else cares. And that's when I'm present. When I'm absent, they don't read it. So right now, Ravana was killed, and Vibhishan is lamenting, and after Vibhishan laments, Mandodari laments. So Mandodari was the chief wife, but there were so many wives. Still he wanted Sita. Ravana was such a rascal, even though he had many wives. So you can just imagine the mentality of those who are crooked, who indulge in child abuse. They're not satisfied with a wife or 300 wives or however many wives Ravana had. I'm sure that's mentioned, but I missed that. I know there were hundreds. Mandodari was the chief wife. Pattarani. You heard this expression? Pattarani in Hindi. In Hindi, everybody heard that. Pattarani, the chief queen. Narottam had no interest in that. If somebody can clean urine and stool for a year, he has no interest in material pleasure. I mean, I don't think cleaning stool we could do even a day. Most people. There are some, they serve their very elderly parents or grandparents. They can't control their urine and stool. And the children, it's usually in India, it's the family. In the West, they put them in a home. Caregivers are taking care of, and it's actually terrible because those people, they do the job, but they don't have love for the, maybe, I'm sure some do. Anyway, he was very detached. Then he got initiated. Okay. So he used to practice Madhukari, would study the Goswami scriptures under the guidance of Jiva Goswami. So Narottam Das directly was studying from Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami was a greatly learned scholar. Sanskrit Vyakaranam, the Sanskrit grammar, By the way, grammar is not a set of rules. Grammar, what Jiva wrote, Harinam Amritam, was an adaptation of what Panini had written 2,000 years ago. And Panini Ashtadhyayi is an observation of how the language is spoken in different places also. So it's not like somebody sat down and wrote the rules of the language, but how the language changes. Even English, there's so many new expressions, right? Boy, even we may not know some of the new expressions. They're called coined words. And we're also learning new words every day in all different languages, whatever language we speak. And Sanskritam had the most words. You know what, they have a comparative study of languages, right? Linguistics. And some languages have larger vocabulary than other languages, but Sanskrita language, bhasha, like 150 words for water. 150 words for water. So you can just imagine how many words are there. In English, you have, one word has different meanings. He died. I dyed my cloth. Same word, right? Died. Two meanings. So there may be 150 words for one thing, or there may be many meanings of one word. So Jiva Goswami was a brilliant scholar who could adapt that. There are almost 4,000 sutras describing Sanskritam that he put Harinam Amrita. I haven't studied them. I know about them. Rascal. Should have studied it. What is the purpose of studying the grammar? So that you can catch the meanings. Particularly because Vedas, language of the Vedas, is difficult to understand. So Vyakarana is one of the 6 angas of the Vedas, limbs of the Vedas. So there's Vyakaranam, there's Nirukta, etymology, and phonetics. That was mentioned here. Phonetics, Shiksha, and Chandas, meters, the study of the meters of the various mantras of Vedas. Jyotisham, astronomy, the position of the planets and the constellations. Not predictions. Predictions came later. And Kalpa Sutras. These are the Shadangas, 6 angas of the Vedas. Kalpa Sutra, manual of rituals, how to perform the sacrifices. So Vedic religion was, you would chant Vedic mantra and make an offering to get some fruit. So that's why it's called Karma Kanda. To action, by performing sacrifices, you get some benefit because you offered certain oblations to the demigods. You know that, where is that mentioned in Gita? Who can tell me? Because I'm going to tell you. I already told. I can't say no, but I wasn't thinking of that. But yes, you're correct. Where is that in Gita? 3rd chapter. I'm thinking of one that's very descriptive. No? Anyone else? You want to try another verse? Okay? Yeah, good. Good. Yagna Shishta means the remnants of an offering, prasad. But I'm thinking of another verse. No, so many saffron devotees here, supposed to be scholars. At least one is there. How about Tetam Bhuktva, Trai Vidya Mam Somapav Puta Papa, Yajñayar Ishtva, Swargatim Prartayante. That's what I was thinking of. You don't know that? 920. Trai means the Vedas. Trai Vidya, the knowledge of Vedas. Trai Vidya Mam Somapav Puta Papa. Trai Vidya Mam Somapav Puta Papa. They offer Soma Ras. Yajñayar Ishtva, in the sacrifice they make offerings in the fire. Swargatim Prartayante, they pray to go to Indraloka. Because the next verse is Yajñayar Ishtva Swargatim Prartayante Te Punyam Asadya Surendra Lokam. Having obtained punya by performing sacrifices, they go to the planet of Indra. Te punyam asadya, obtained. Ashnanti divyan divi deva bhogan. They go to the, divi means in the heavenly planets. And everyone has heard, who knows Hindi, you don't know Hindi, but you might have heard Divangata. You've heard of it? Divangat left his body. Diva, heavenly planet, Gata, Divangata, gone to heaven. Anyone who died went to heaven, unless they were a rascal, and 99.9% of humanity are rascals. But still, to honor the dead, they say Divangat, went to the heavenly planets. They don't say Narakam Gata, they went to the hellish planets. Nobody says that. So in order to, how this came from learning grammar, you would perform a sacrifice. Not only grammar, but the meters of the Vedas, the phonetics, the etymology, the auspicious time, the constellations line up what time of the day is auspicious for performing a sacrifice. And with the aim of going to the heavenly planets. But of course, Krishna in the next verse says, Te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punya martyalokam vishanti. After having enjoyed the wonderful pleasures of the heavenly planets, you have to come back when your pious credits are over. When the gas runs out, when the petrol runs out of the car stops. When you performed so many pious activities, but you used up, it's like the credit card, right? You used up all your credit. You can't use the card anymore. So you went to the heavenly planets, but you have to come back. So that's why karma kanda was condemned. But the word karma kanda can also be used, generally it's used for, following Vedic sacrifices to enjoy some material pleasure in the heavenly planets. Or in this life, right? Say Dasharath, remember him? We talked about him a few minutes ago. He didn't have a son even though he had 350 wives. And so he called Risha Shringya and performed a putrieshti, a sacrifice to get a son. And then he got 4 sons, Rama, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughna. So it was for some material pleasure, but since he was a great devotee and the Lord himself appeared. So a great devotee might have 350 wives, who knows, right? Vasudeva had 9 wives. Krishna appeared as his son. Hard to understand sometimes. So, Jiva Goswami was a great scholar. Then he wrote the Shad Sandarbhas, right? Philosophy, the philosophical basis of Gaudiya Vaishnavism we find in those books. So, Narottam Das studied directly from Jiva. So that's also wonderful, right? How many students Jiva might have had other students, but I think Narottam Das might be his most famous student. Who are the other students? Lokanath, obviously. Srinivasacharya. Shyamananda was his disciple. So, yeah. One guru may have many glorious disciples. Prabhupada recognized his god brothers. Bhakti Siddhanta produced many glorious disciples. We believe that Prabhupada was the greatest, but who can say? At the time of Bhakti Siddhanta, he embraced Kunja Babu, Bhakti Vilas Tirtha. They called him Prabhupada Preshta. You know this thing? You heard this story? Preshta means Krishna Preshtaya, to the one who is dear. Preshta means dear. But at the time of Bhakti Siddhanta, this sannyasis went to Bhakti Siddhanta. They said, get rid of this Kunja Babu. He's a materialist. He's taking a salary, he's got a family. He became a sannyasi later. Prabhupada, one godbrother of Prabhupada told me the story, Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj. So he said that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati told his own sannyasis, if you don't like this, my relationship with him, you can leave. This is my institution, I'll run it as I see fit. Said like that. The stories are there. Okay, so Srinivasacharya was his dear friend. You remember Srinivasacharya? And together the two of them used to study under Jiva Goswami. At that time, Shyamananda Prabhu arrived from Gauda Desh. And he also began studying the Goswami scriptures under the guidance of Sri Jiva. These three, with one mind, performed their bhajan in Vrindavan, and yet still they felt that their inner aspiration had not attained its complete fulfillment. One day, Jiva Goswami called the three of them to him and said, in the future, you must preach the message of Sriman Mahaprabhu far and wide. Taking the literatures of the Goswamis, you must quickly go to Bengal and begin preaching. So that's how Bengal became, of course you say Mahaprabhu, but Bengal became Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Everyone became followers of Mahaprabhu. The three of them gave up their residence in Vrindavan and accepted the order of their guru on their accepted the order of the guru on their heads. Taking the treasured scriptures of the Goswamis with them, they started on their journey to Bengal. As they continued on their way, gradually they came to Vana Vishnupur. Vana means forest, Vishnupur. In Vana Vishnupur lived a king of dacoits and thieves named Birhambir. At that night, he had the scriptures stolen, thinking them to be treasure of some kind. Awakening in the morning and seeing the scriptures stolen, the three of them felt as if their heads had been hit by a thunderbolt. Miserable beyond description, the three of them began searching the four directions for the scriptures until finally news came to them that King Birhambir had stolen the books and was keeping them hidden in his royal storehouse. At this, Sri Shyamananda Prabhu headed for Utkala, and Narottam started for Keturigram, while Srinivasacharya stayed behind. Thinking of some thinking to somehow deliver the Goswami's books from the king's storehouse. Where is Utkala? You know Utkala? No, you know. Orissa. Correct answer here. Utkala and Kalinga. Two kingdoms, but today Odisha. And Keturigram is in Bangladesh. Okay. And this Vana Vishnupur must be in Jharkhand or something, right? Jharkhand. Jharkhand. In Bengal they say Jharkhand. But North India say Jharkhand. That's the official name of a state. Where it was all forest. That's the forest where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing with the tigers, right? In the Jharkhand forest, Jharkhand. In order to see the holy birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Narottam went to quickly visit Navadvip. Arriving there, he began chanting, O Gaura Hari, O Gaura Hari, on the banks of the Ganges, hundreds and hundreds of times, and offered many prayers to the Lord. Sitting beneath the shade of a tal tree, he began to wonder, where is the actual place of Sri Chaitanya's birth? He sat there for some time, thinking of what to see next. Just then an old Brahmana happened to walk by. Narottam rose to his feet to show respect to the Brahmana. The Brahmana said, Baba, from where have you come? What is your name? Narottam introduced himself and expressed his desire to see the holy birthplace of Sri Chaitanya. The Brahmana replied, today my life has become auspicious, for before my eyes is a dear devotee of Sri Chaitanya. Narottam said, Baba, have you seen Chaitanya? The Brahmana replied, what are you saying? Every day Nimai Pandit sits with his disciples at this ghat and discusses the Shastra. And then from a distance I watch him and wonder at the beauty of his divine form. Today I remember seeing that very form sitting beneath this tree here, where he sits every day. As the Brahmana spoke, tears of ecstasy poured from the eyes of Narottam. Narottam said, Baba, it is the fortune of a lifetime that I have beheld you with these eyes. Saying this, tears fell from his eyes also. And falling to the ground, Narottam touched the Brahmana's feet to his head. The Brahman said, Baba, I give you my blessings that soon you will attain devotion to the lotus feet of Govinda. At the same time, you will preach the glories of Gaur Govinda far and wide. After this, the Brahmana showed Narottam Das the path to where the house of Jagannath Mishra was. Finding that path, Sri Narottam walked until he came to the house of Jagannath Mishra. Arriving at the house of Jagannath Mishra, he fell down at the door with tears in his eyes and offered his full obeisances. Romancha Kampashru, Taranga. We say Taranga, Romancha Kampashruta. That's actually wrong. It's Taranga means waves, right? And Ashru, tears. Romanch, hair standing on end. Singing this every morning and we don't know the meaning. Romancha, kampa, shaking. Romanch, kampa, ashru, taranga. All these things, when someone is in transcendental ecstasy, these symptoms manifest. After this, the Brahmana showed the house. He walked to the house. Arriving at the house, he fell on his floor. He fell with tears in his eyes and offered full obeisances, while offering various prayers in glorification of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Entering within the house, he had the darshan of the lotus feet of Shuklambara Brahmachari. Narottam offered his respects to his feet. From different signs, Shuklambara Chakravarti could understand that Narottam was an agent of Sri Chaitanya's mercy. He asked, who are you? Narottam introduced himself, explaining that he had been living in Vrindavan under the care of Jiva Goswami and Lokanath Goswami, and that he had just arrived in Navadvip. Sri Lokanath said, Baba, you have come from Vrindavan. you were with Lokanath, I'm sorry. Sri Lokanath said? How could it be Lokanath? Anyway, you were with Lokanath and Jiva Goswami. At length he made Narottam rise, embraced him heartily, barraging him with endless questions about the well-being, activities, and good health of the Goswamis. In this way, he talked on and on with Narottam as he wanted to hear all about Vrindavan and everything that was going on there. Finally, Narottam got to meet Ishan Thakur, the old servant of Sri Sachi Mata. And upon meeting him, he offered his prayers of respect at his holy feet and introduced himself. Sri Ishan Thakur touched Narottam's head, bestowing his blessings upon him, and then embraced him affectionately. After this, Narottam met Sri Damodar Pandit and offered his respects to him. After this, Narottam went to the house of Srivas Pandit and offered his respects to Sripati and Srinidhi Pandit. All of them affectionately embraced Narottam. After staying for a few days in Mayapur, Narottam went to visit the house of Advaita in Shantipur. There he offered his respects at the lotus feet of Achyutananda, son of Advaita Acharya. Achyutananda introduced himself and inquired after the health and well-being of the Vrindavan Goswamis. Time is up, people are leaving. I mean, they already left. I guess it's not so interesting, huh? Why are they leaving? They have service. Or is it time for prasadam? Should I end it here? And there's a lot more. This was a really comprehensive biography, which, if I read the way I'm going, we'll be here till noon. Some devotees do that. I have some other program to attend at 10 o'clock. What's the verdict here? People are voting with their feet. You heard that expression? Vote with your feet and walk out. Any questions? We didn't get to the Bhagavatam. It was fun? Was okay? Interesting? What do you say? Narottam Das Thakur appearance day. But today is Purnima, so must be some difference of opinion. Because here it said, what, Panchami? Magh Panchami is Vasant Panchami? Then how is it on Magh Purnima? Hare Krishna. No question. Comment? Nothing? Okay. Shri Narottam Das Thakur Avirbhav Mahotsav Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Is there fasting for half a day or no? No. Some announcement?
Just express the gratitude.
Oh.
Hare Krishna. So we are very grateful to His Grace Bhasughosh Prabhu for taking out his time and blessing us with this wonderful association. As Prabhu was speaking, many details of grammar, English, Hindi, I was thinking, हम इंडिया में रहते हैं, मेरे को details पता नहीं है. But Prabhu is born in Chicago and he knows so many details. He's so intelligent. So I was remembering how Prabhu was very fond of the devotees, those were very intelligent. He said, Prabhu, I appreciate Bhasughosh Prabhu a lot and I really love him. So let us express our gratitude to Bhasughosh Prabhu by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Grace Bhasughosh Prabhu ki Jai. So Prabhu is giving today evening at 6:30 p.m.
With you?
So I am speaking devotees in the sample at gate number 3.
Oh, that's okay. Hare Krishna. We'll miss being here. I'll come after Janmashtami if I live that long to take Ayurvedic treatment. But I can give some lectures also. Actually, I didn't study the life of Narottam.